We are Viera Vida.
Welcome back to the show. Ooh, I feel like Chantel, you were just like on fire in that little
I was
diggy.
on fire.
What's that called?
On fire in the what? In the
Yeah,
intro.
doesn't she have a beautiful voice? We're gonna have to request that she sings more on our channel and on our. This is a really great show for you to broadcast your voice.
Oh,
So
okay.
today we are
I'm like,
already
this is Carmen.
distracted as
Sorry.
as it goes and
Yep.
as it happens.
Yep.
If you are new, this is a Viera Vida show. We focus on issues that affect millennials and even beyond, because if you're listening to the issues that affect millennials, you're pretty much talking about trending topics.
Yep.
So that's what today's episode is about. It's about trending topics, things that are really affecting us as millennials, the entire nation, really.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, though, we have to make sure that we're taking care of our business here on the show. We like to start off with something called our listener shout out. So
You want first?
Chantel likes to be a little bit shy about the
Yes.
listener shout out. So you know what? I will do my shout out of the week first. So this
Okay.
is a segment in which we shout out somebody who has made an impact in our lives, who is making an impact in our show, who's making an impact in the world. And we also like to give you a little bit of time to feel special. What I'm going to do is start this off with my shout out of the week, and my shout out of the week goes to Fernando Mendez from The Round Table. He has a great show that happened just before this episode is recording, if you are watching on YouTube Live. And it is every day at, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Fernando talks about current events, issues such as politics, and he has a roundtable talk where you really discuss the issues going on in the world. So you guys should definitely give his show a gander. Fernando's a great host here, and we just had such a pleasant talk with him. So shout out to Fernando.
Yes. It's my turn, huh?
It appears you're not ready.
I know. I really did have something. I thought I had something. I do have something. I want to shout out all the hardworking college students currently in school, especially those who are parents, full-time parents,
Wow.
and also having a job and doing the thing. Shout out to y'all. Keep pushing, keep persevering, because you're obviously grinding towards a bigger goal.
Right.
So keep going. It's hard work now, and I know sometimes you just want to quit, but keep pushing.
It is really hard work.
Yeah.
I feel like being a student by itself is hard. Being a mother by itself is hard, and doing all those things together. What you guys may or may not be aware of is that Chantel is a student and a mother, balancing all those things together right now.
Yeah.
And you're actually having to commute to get to class and take the babies
With me to my mom.
Right.
Yeah, all that jazz.
You know what? I commend you. You're handling that with grace.
Thanks, because I want to quit. But no, there's times that I'm like, oh, Nehemiah said to me yesterday.
Nehemiah's
sorry
her
to cut you
son.
off. Yes, he was like, I don't want to go. And it was rainy and stuff yesterday. I was like, I don't want to go either.
Right.
Believe me. I'd
Right.
rather stay home too and just stay, in this nice comfortableness of this house. But we have to go.
Right.
We have to go. So.
And you know what? He said that the last time that I was at your house, it was like a Tuesday. He's like, yeah, I don't really want to go. And you were like, sometimes we do things we don't want to do.
Yes.
And it's a life lesson. But you know what? You're killing it. What you guys don't know is that Chantel is actually in a couple math classes right now. And I have learned that she has a skill for numbers.
Yeah, which is funny because if anybody who knows me knows I use a calculator for everything. Stuff in my head is a no-go.
Right.
But then being back in the 2 algebra classes I'm taking, there are some things I'm doing in my head that everybody else is doing on paper, and somebody questioned me about it. But to make a long story short, I was like, oh, I can do some of this maths in my head. Okay.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of it is just doing it and applying yourself in a
Yes.
way that you start to believe in yourself.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm so glad that we got the listener shout-outs out of the way, because
Me
sometimes
too.
that's the most nerve-wracking part of the show, you guys.
Yeah.
But you know what?
all
It's
good
important.
things. Mm-hmm.
Because what we're trying to do here is build community. What we're trying to do here is demonstrate that the relationships that we're building are really important and valuable. And what better way to do that than to recognize people for what they're doing in our lives? So congratulations. Okay. let's jump right into it because we have a lot to talk about today.
Oh, you want to jump right in?
We need to jump right in. You know,
Okay.
our schedule's full in terms of things that we need to talk about. And
Yes.
one of the things that has been plaguing at my mind right now is the state of our country. And I hate to get so deep so fast, but we kind of need to, right? We need to have these conversations because a lot of people are afraid to have these conversations, don't feel qualified to have these conversations, don't feel comfortable having these conversations. So this is a place in which there's a no judgment zone.
Right.
So let's do it. What is going on with Mr. Trump, your president?
Impeachment talk.
Right.
Yeah,
what's going on with your president?
So he had reached out, the latest that I knew, because unfortunately with me being in these math classes, I'm not keeping up on this stuff like I should be right now, I'm going to be honest. But the gist of it all is that he contacted Ukraine and asked if they can help him out with some info on
Biden, right?
Biden, who is trying to get that Democratic nomination.
So here's my thing.
Yeah.
I feel like...
What you feel like?
If I were Biden, I would kind of be flattered.
Right. Oh, you want it on me.
Oh, you're scared of me.
So you're scared I'm going to get this nomination.
Well, because he knows... Listen, Biden has such great influence. Biden has experience. Biden has... I'm just going to say it. He has the couth.
Yeah.
He has... you know, the ability to speak professionally. He has worked in the White House. He has so much to intimidate Trump with.
Yeah.
But aside from that,
yeah.
all jokes aside, this is an issue of U.S. national security.
Correct. You can't just be going... Yeah, like, who... What? Why do you think just because you're in the White House you have this privilege?
Yeah, he likes to invoke executive privilege. And here's the thing, you guys. What he is doing is setting precedent for other people. So let's say that you're a Republican and you're listening to the show right now. You're a supporter of Trump, right? And then down the road, there's a Democratic president who you disagree with. He's doing all kinds of things, invoking executive privilege, invoking unilateral decisions, such as the issue of Turkey. And what he's doing is making it so that we are like, oh, yeah, no, that's the way things go.
Yeah, we can
when it happens for anyone else.
Yep.
That precedent is really dangerous.
It is dangerous. We have certain, not laws, but there's certain checks and balances and certain things set in order to make sure that things are running the way they're supposed to be ran. That once you get in that seat, you can't think that you can just do whatever you want because you have, now become the president of the United States. I'm not surprised.
You're not.
I'm not surprised by any of it only because from day one, he's kind of had this air, not kind of, but he's had this air about him that I can do what I want. I can say what I want. And
it's worked for him, which is sad.
Exactly. That's kind of what's gotten him the votes.
Yeah.
Let's be real. A lot of people stayed home.
Right.
That's facts. A lot of people stayed home in that election because they weren't feeling either of the candidates. But it's like at this point, and I'm jumping to, and I'm sorry not to
no,
switch
go
gears.
where your mind goes because this is what we're thinking.
Yeah. We can't stay home. And I know there's still a lot of people out there that's like, oh, voting doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. But if we look at this election, it definitely shows that it does. Hillary obviously had the popular vote. We know that. But knowing that such a high number stayed home, it's like, where were your votes that could have made that difference?
And here's the thing. When, and we're doing this to ourselves as Democrats, right? When there is so much competition, we're attacking each other instead of fighting for what we all agree on.
Exactly.
The issues that we all agree on.
Exactly.
And that's scary. That's the thing that is really, it's going to beat us up. So instead of next time that you're online and you're seeing a post about one of the hundreds of Democratic nominees, bashing them, you know what? Support who you want to support. Make sure you vote, right? The primaries and the generals are both really important.
Yes.
But in both of those instances, it's important that we're not attacking our own issues.
Right. Can I ask you a question?
Ask me.
Can I ask you who is your favorite nominee or nominees right now? Do you have somebody, or are you just like...
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I do. I do.
Are you okay to...
I guess, yeah. Okay. I guess so. Wow. Okay, you guys, this is what's happening here.
This is a twofold question, too.
Okay.
one, who do you think has it to beat if Trump were to make it to the elections, which who knows at this point if he's going to?
Okay.
Who do you think would be able to beat him? And then the other side of that is who's your favorite, regardless.
Okay.
If you feel they can beat him or not. Okay.
Okay, so this is what's going on in my mind, and this is why I was hesitating, and it's because I can't usually be so vocal about this. I hadn't been able to because I was working at a political organization in which we didn't really try to be supportive of just one candidate or anything like that. We were issue focused, which is great.
Yep.
I have a heart for Biden. I do.
Yeah.
I wanted Biden to run in 2016.
Okay.
And it's because I trust him. I really do. I know he's another old white guy. Right now, that's who's qualified right now. And at the end of the day, when I saw, what it was to have somebody who had no political experience in the White House, it to me was alarming.
Yeah.
And so I hate this institution of politics, right? And a lot of people are not fans of how, these lifetime politicians continue to be elected. But at the end of the day, right now, to save us, I feel like we need, this sounds so backwards, but I feel like we need a lifetime politician. We need somebody who's seen change over time, who's dealt with big issues like this, who's been a part of turning our country around, who's been a part of ups and downs. And I feel like Biden, I'm a little biased too because he lives so close to Pennsylvania. He's from Delaware. And he really understands and really cares about the issues that I care about. And he's proven that to me. So yeah, I would definitely say Biden.
I know we have to take a break, and I want to give you my take on that on the other side of it.
Hot ticket. I can't wait to hear about that. So stick with us, you guys, because after this, we get to find out who Chantel's top candidate would be.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Hey besties, welcome back to the Viera Vida show where we millennials talk about issues affecting millennials in the world today. My name is Julie and we also have with us Chantel.
What's up, what's up?
Chantel.
Yes.
Just before this break, we were talking about some pretty intense topics, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about politics. We were talking about who we thought we needed for... Who do we need? Is that
yes. So here's my take on it. I also want to give a little disclaimer. If anybody's watching live, I've made faces. I have to remember we are definitely on a camera. I didn't realize that we didn't have the time left that we had on the timer. So I was like, all right. So I'm gonna try to get my faces together. Anyway, so I do think, looking at the candidates, right, for the Democratic Party, I do feel like Biden would be the one to get the votes.
Right.
But he's not my favorite.
Okay.
I go back and forth. At first I really liked Yang, but now I don't know how I'm feeling about it just because certain things, he's doing the, what was he doing? Cupid Shuffle and stuff.
Right.
But it's are you really hitting those communities, or is it that you're just trying to look like you're for those communities that might be doing a Cupid Shuffle,
Okay.
Questions like that. Elizabeth Warren is piquing my interest.
She's definitely my second.
Yeah. She's definitely piquing my interest. There's other people that I want to like. I like Julian Castro. But then it's as much as we like these people, who's going to actually win who can stand the chance to actually stand up there and actually get the votes to become the next president of the United States, to win against whoever the Republican nominee is going to be. And I say whoever because we don't know what's going to be the outcome of this impeachment process that's going on. So yeah, I feel like Biden could potentially definitely win, but I have some other people that I'm like, I'd like to see what you do. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? I like that, and I definitely have my excuse me in my shirt. I definitely have my list of backups and all that. And you know what? This is a crazy time in which we have how many candidates?
There's still a lot. There's still so many candidates. I feel like
25.
Yeah.
Is that an exaggeration? No, I don't think so. I think we have like 25 candidates, and it's a crazy time because it's such a huge population that they would be representing, but when you think about 25 candidates, it just hasn't happened before. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that paradigm shift where we're talking about, this as this crazy huge pool of candidates, right? And it's only really like 25 people in all of America. So how do you feel about that little bit of a thought shift? Because until just now when I was saying it out loud, I was like, we've got so many people running. And then I'm like, do we need this though?
I feel like it shows that there's an urgency to fix what has gone wrong in my mind as far as, again, somebody getting in the White House and thinking that he can just do whatever he wants and not really being presidential. And I'm okay.
Disclaimer, it says here 19 candidates, but you know what?
But still, 25, it sounds better.
Okay, sorry for interrupting.
No problem. But... and I'm not against somebody in the White House who isn't necessarily presidential.
Right.
But I feel like you still have to have
professionalism
about you. You have to, because you're the leader of the free world, and you're what you're representing us when you go to other countries. You're representing us in the news, in the media, and you're representing us with whatever you feel your policies are for this country. And I know, and I've said this before, whoever's in that White House, whatever their policies are, it's not going to cover everybody. It's not going to make everybody happy, but I think it needs to be for the best. Like, their minds, to me, has to be what is the best for the majority of the people in this country.
Right, and I like that. I like that ideology where it doesn't have to be this... And I go back to this institution of, like lifelong politicians. I don't even think it's that really makes me more comfortable with some rather than other candidates. I do think it's the professionalism, the jargon, the lack of name calling.
Yes.
The fact
the
that...
bullying. We don't need bullying, yeah.
So one thing that I find really striking when it comes to our political climate is how it has really affected our media. And media has become this really taboo subject. And we're sitting here as the media right now too. And sometimes we are scared to just be real.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think in being scared to be real, first of all, a lot of people wear masks.
Right.
To other people that they don't know, that they're not comfortable with. They put on this mask because they want to be accepted or seen as a certain way, right? So we can't show who we really are to everybody. And unfortunately, sometimes that mask is not nice. Sometimes the mask is made up to be pretty, and sometimes that mask is mean. Sometimes it is because of people's insecurities. That mask is being a bully. That mask is in hiding their insecurities. I'm going to put everything on you instead of me being real. And I think we can kind of say that bullying and that not being real is definitely being shown and seen in our media climate today.
Right. And what I remember, I think this was 2018, this big issue where the Sinclair script was sent through a bunch of different media outlets, and they were all saying the same exact thing, the script.
Oh my gosh, I've seen something like that before.
Right. And to me, that's not what our media is here to do.
Right.
And I'm finding that it is so scripted to the point of, like, you need to make sure that the end message isn't the news that you're sharing, it's that this person or this group is awful.
Yeah.
So I was watching this morning and I called you because it was really striking to me. Fox News, and I feel like I
Dun,
pick
dun,
on Fox
dun.
News. I do. I feel like I pick on Fox News, and it's because Fox News really gets under my skin lately, and it didn't as much as it has since Trump.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm not so much getting news from them as I am hearing the left, the Democrats, these people are dumb, like having ulterior motives, evil. And I'm like, okay, but what were you just talking about? What's the topic of this report then?
And so I'm shifting gears again. I feel so bad for being the gear shifter here. Have you watched The Hack? Great Hack, The Hack, Netflix, about Cambridge Analytica yet?
I'm not sure that I did. I don't
And
think I
think
did.
that you would enjoy watching it only because from like a marketing standpoint, and then understanding social media and understanding ads and all that stuff.
If you guys are watching on the live, I'm like holding back my laughter right now because if you're not new to the Viera Vida show, you would be aware that every single show Chantel has a Netflix recommendation.
I was like, wait, what happened? What's funny? Okay,
we need to have. First off, Netflix, if you're watching this, can we get that sponsorship?
Hello. Hello. It's like, no, for real. Seriously, it's a good one. You need to put that on your list.
The Great Hack.
I think so. And if it's not The Great Hack, it's The Hack.
Okay.
But it basically shows how much money Trump was putting, like, all right, I don't want to over-exaggerate the number, but let's just say a high millions. I feel like it was $1 billion number, but high millions of dollars a day in advertising, social media advertising, making sure, so like whoever was running his social media campaign in that engine, they were making sure that they were spewing out the same rhetoric over and over again about the emails. And
so I have heard about The Hack.
Yes, it's crazy, and something that was said, and to come back to your point about like Fox News and how they're just saying like they ulterior motives, just spewing all this stuff out. Someone said in this documentary, I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to have a fair election again. And they're absolutely right. Like the fact that they were getting from Facebook profiles and information on Facebook users, and they had the persuadables, they said, and people who they knew that they can just feed this news to and feed these advertisements to, that they could get their votes. And it's like, if this actually did happen, which I believe it, if this actually did happen and it swayed people to vote for Trump,
it did,
just off of this, we can never have a fair election again.
Right.
That's I like.
Okay.
Ugh.
Oh,
so
this is scary because
so
of democracy.
Great, but then it's like this. Like,
well, yeah, money does play a huge role.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the points I was going to make is that some of these Democratic candidates, I feel like, have a better chance because they have just so much money. And that's sad. But me personally, because I've done so much political digital advertising, I know the impact that it can make.
Right.
And I know that if these skills get put into the wrong hands, which they have, it can be detrimental. It can, because, okay, yes, we're free thinkers as people.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're getting these seemingly accredited sources spitting such jargon, you're
going to start regurgitating it. Yeah.
Right. And even if you're not believing it, you're regurgitating it.
Yep.
Or even if you're sharing it based off of sarcasm, you're sharing it.
Right.
And someone else who maybe is not as conscious to check and verify the sources is going to share that. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
Definitely.
And you know what? I do remember when The Hack came out and you know, like the big explosion of fear that it caused, because there is so much debate about the conversations that take place online as it pertains to the Russia investigation.
Yeah.
And the Mueller report didn't say that it didn't happen. It didn't say it did. You know, like we're in this place where you have to like redact so much. But if you look at all of the evidence, Russia played a huge role in our election and should have no role in our election. At
all. Like, I don't know.
Even if they just like the fact that this is possible means that we have to have a lot more cybersecurity. We have to have more understanding of what we're learning. In fact, I believe and this is, like there's a lot of things that people want people to learn in schools, but I believe in schools we need to be teaching people about understanding the sources that they're finding on social media.
That's absolutely true. It's a new age of like technology and social media. You're absolutely right.
Right.
You're absolutely right. And we have to shift and adjust with the times. And one of the things that I recognize on Facebook when things are definitely shared, and I actually deactivated mine a couple weeks ago for like a week, and then I got back on. A lot of things that are shared, when you click the link, it's like, but is this true? Like, whatever the story is. And I have to go, and then I got to fact check, and then I have to see, well, when did this happen? And some of it is heartbreaking. Some of the news and some of the stories are real. And it's hard because you're like, a lot of times you just want to scroll through because there's so much junk on there, but then there's also so much truth, and it's like, which is which? So we definitely need to learn how to decipher between it and how to research.
And it's scary because whether people are sharing it because it's shocking or not, there's this influence, right? And this influence that we a lot of times don't talk about unless you're in the digital ad world is the algorithm.
Yeah.
And so the algorithm...
Al Gore.
So basically, the algorithm is basically a bunch of robots. It's not a person. And it's these robots that say, oh, this is really interesting to a lot of people. They're clicking on it. They're engaging with it. Whether or not those comments are positive or not, they're engaging with it. So I'm going to show it to more people.
Yeah.
And having a really good understanding of the algorithm can make or break a business, can make or break a campaign, can make or break, it seems at this point, a democracy.
Yeah. Definitely can.
It's one of the most influential parts of any social media. And I think people don't realize that the algorithm, although it's coded by people, at Facebook or Instagram or whatever place, at a certain point, it takes a mind of its own.
Right.
It's computers learning about you. And this machine learning is more powerful than any learning that we could fulfill through a human campaign.
Yes. Anybody who's watching the live or is watching this link even after the live, I'm smiling because I have another documentary, but it's not Netflix.
Share it.
I'm gonna have to look it up and have to share it on our pages. It is a program on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime account, then you have Prime Video.
Okay.
It is the gentleman from Harold and Kumar, but the gentleman who was in Obama's administration. And I always...
Harold and Kumar.
Like, they go to White Castle. So he's an actor, but he is also college educated, and he did have a seat, like, he had a position, a job in the Obama administration. So...
I don't know who you're talking about.
Let me see, y'all. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Come on, phone. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. Let me see if I can get you his name.
Okay.
So if I go
because we have Harold Lee, Kumar Patel.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Hurry up. Let's see. Okay, Cal Penn.
Okay.
He played Kumar.
Okay.
So he had a job position in the Obama administration. So he has this series where he goes around and there is this actual robot.
Okay.
That is starting to, it has people come together and you have to pick your decision. Like, who should we save in a disaster? Boy, girl, pregnant woman. And then people in the room, they decide which one. And then the whole room, however this robot works, there's like one outcome. Like it learns the outcome that everybody's picking. This thing has allowed people to pick winning horses. Like all of this stuff. Yeah. And it's...
Talk about machine learning.
Exactly. So if you can ever... Again, I gave you his name. He's in a documentary.
Okay.
It's a series on Amazon Prime. It'll blow your mind.
Okay, speaking of blowing your mind, first off, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk more about these algorithms and different things that are affecting our democracy, our political climate today. So stick with us because we want to continue to have this conversation, these tough conversations with you on the Viera Vida show.
I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. And even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, Maria, and she convinced me to continue my education. Just never judges. She's a true role model.
From the depths of my heart, I thank you, Maria, for being a friend and a beautiful person. No one receives a diploma alone, and I'm honored to share this moment with you. Thank you.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hey besties, welcome back to the Viera Vida show. Today we are talking a lot about politics and the trends that are affecting us as millennials, especially as it pertains to social media and algorithms that affect the democracy. So just before this break, Chantel was sharing a documentary about machine learning AI in which you can predict different outcomes in situations so accurately that it's alarming. Chantel,
Yes.
What is the name of that documentary?
So the name of the documentary is the series, and it's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Giant Beast That Is the Global Economy.
Okay.
And if you want to just watch the specific episode, it's episode 4, which is titled AI is the Future.
And okay, let's talk about AI is the future, right? How much do you think the average person knows about AI?
Not a lot.
No, right?
I think we know what we've seen in movies or whatever.
and,
Or that they're taking over our cashier jobs.
Right. And for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with the acronym, AI is artificial intelligence, and basically it's the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines. So basically understanding the way that humans and replicating the way that humans in life would act, but through machine learning. And this is very similar to something that we've been talking about that's affecting millennials especially, is, how the algorithm plays a role in our ideologies and mindsets, right? So a lot of times we aren't understanding that the news that we're being fed isn't from reputable sources. How is this happening? Through the algorithm. Whether or not you think it's a joke, if you reshare it, it's telling the algorithm that this is something that people want to see. The algorithm wants you to be on the platform longer, whatever that platform is, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and it says, oh, well, people like this, so I'm going to share it because that means that they're going to click around on Facebook that much longer. That being said, that rhetoric, whether it's true, false, accredited, or Wikipedia level, is going to continue to perpetuate the webs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like something needs to be done where this is weeded out a little better, but we still have... So it's like there's freedom of speech here. But I think the information that is being shared, some type of filter or something needs to be implemented, and something's going to have to happen. Like, this is still new to us, I think,
Right.
as far as technology goes, as far as social media. So I know I don't want a lot of regulation, but then something has to be put into play.
Okay, so something that you may not be aware of, and you can tell me how you feel about this, is that Facebook is creating a fake news detector. And
Okay.
so I'm a little nervous about this in terms of how the algorithm will
Because
react
what if
to
it's
it.
not fake news?
Yeah, so they're working to stop misinformation and false news, right? So I don't understand the algorithm. I don't think anyone, even the creators of the algorithm, know fully what its effects could be. But here are some of the negatives of like really disrupting that process. And that's, I'm thinking of it from a creator's perspective. Whether you have an accredited or I guess a substantial company, could that affect whether or not people are seeing your broadcasts?
Right.
What about, if you just do tea time conversations, does that affect your broadcast? Are there certain words that are going to trigger Facebook and the algorithm to, lower the success of your content?
Because what if you're very honest about the fact that this is my opinion, these are our opinions, like this is, we're just speaking about how we feel, and then it's just like, meh, we don't want you being seen or heard, so we just want to move you to the left. And again, that's where my fear is the freedom of speech. Is that going to stop that? But at this, like, I'm so in the middle on this fence where, something needs to be done to protect our generations that are coming and the younger children who are growing up. But at the same time, that's part of our right as an American to be able to say how we feel about certain things within, and let me say this, within going to use the word measure. I don't even think that's the word I want. Within reason.
Okay.
Because I do feel like while we do have freedom of speech, I don't feel like people should be using that right to bully other people. I'm not for that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was reading through this Facebook approach, one of the, I guess, the incentives for people to disseminate fake news is it's an economic incentive, right? You know, you're getting your word out, so your ads are doing really well. You're getting AdSense or views or clicks or whatever it is. So there's that economic incentive. They're saying that by having third parties fact check, by having machine learnings detecting fraud and enforcing policies, and by updating and being able to detect fake accounts, they're going to be able to combat this. So part of my concern is I'm cool with, you know, let's figure out if these are fake accounts, because clearly they're bots, right?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely comfortable with
Oh my gosh,
that.
especially on Instagram. Oh,
yes.
Those comments. Go
right?
ahead. Go ahead.
So I'm comfortable with that. I am a little weary about applying machine learning to assist our response teams in detecting fraud and enforcing policies against inauthentic spam accounts, because what are they considering spam accounts?
Right. Because sometimes when you get emails that just put in the spam and it's like, nah, that wasn't spam. I needed that email.
I think there's just there's so much to know here. I'm glad something is happening, but I'm also nervous about how these decisions are informed.
Yeah.
And I'm nervous because I'm a creator.
Yeah.
And, you know, there have been times, and you tell me if this has happened to you, where I'll be clicking on Instagram, liking a bunch of people's stuff. Like, I am all hyped that my friend got back on Instagram. Like, love you, miss you, writing all this stuff. And then Instagram is like, oh, we've detected misuse, so you're blocked for however much time.
They've done that to you before?
Yes, friend.
Oh my gosh. Now, I've heard about these jails. These internet jails.
Girl, I'm in internet jail on Instagram.
Like right now? Or
I
you
feel
have,
like it.
Oh, I was going to say, or you have been.
So
That's
there's this
crazy.
idea of being shadow banned, and shadow banned.
Is that because they're thinking that you're a bot?
They're thinking that something inauthentic is happening. And for a lot of us, it's not inauthentic.
Some people just like to be on the Instagrams and click on stuff.
Right, because I schedule time to do that. I schedule time to make sure I'm engaging.
Hit the mic.
You know, and so here's my concern. If that's already happening, and Facebook is owned by Instagram, Instagram's owned by Facebook, what is to say that it's not going to ruin things for creators? Because I'm already seeing that effect. I'm already seeing that, you know, if you use the same hashtags, you're thinking it's a bot. If you react to certain things in the same way, they think it's a bot. And therefore, the content that you're working so hard on is not being seen by those that you're targeting.
Yeah, and what if you have, so being a creative, you want to get that out. What if politically, like community-wise, you're trying to do work and you're just, you know, trying to engage on social media and you're very active?
Right.
Like, what if you have something important to say and they're shutting you down? Like, I don't...
It's happening. It's happening a lot. And I have a huge love-hate relationship with the algorithms, especially now that I'm full-time in terms of my business and my shop and everything. I know that these algorithms can work in your favor tremendously, but right now it seems that they just want people to pay for ads, and that's how you're going to show up.
You know what? This is making me think we need to get our children into computer science and get them into coding and stuff and get them making those decisions and figuring out how we're going to make this work for everybody and for our people. That's just because
but you know, that's
running that is not.
While I love that,
that's
a long-term solution.
I know.
What can we do short-term? We don't know. We don't know.
It's such a mass giant. Like, it's so big that it's like, I have this love-hate thing with where we are in terms of our technology nowadays. I get informed on some things that are great. I'm able to keep in contact with certain people that I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in years. How are you? Like you said, oh, hey, you're on Instagram. How you doing? Oh my gosh, you're doing great. But then on the other side of that, the fake news, the people being bullies, the taking your information without your consent.
Right.
Watching what you're doing and taking that for research. Like, who said that I gave you that permission? And I guess we gave that permission when we signed on. So it's like all these things that we need to think about that are in that fine print that nobody reads the yes, I agree to these terms. They're taking our stuff and they're just selling it to firms who's doing research on things, and they got our blueprints out there.
I read something about those terms and conditions that if you were to read all of the ones that you click in a year, that it would take you like some crazy amount of thousands of hours that nobody has.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing that we were talking about earlier in terms of the election is the electoral college versus the popular vote. And, you know, this is basically where we got to this conversation that we need to understand how these algorithms are working. We need to understand also how this machine of, you know, politics is working. And I read something really alarming, and it said that Trump could lose by 5 million votes and still win in 2020.
Because of the electoral college.
Yeah. I mean, this has happened, remember?
Depends on the states that you win.
2016. What was it that 2.9 million more votes went to Hillary, yet the electoral college was lost like 306 to 232.
Why can't we just do a popular vote? Like, part of me is probably like, if I were to really go back and read why, it's like, all right, yeah, okay, that made sense. But like, is that still relevant today? Is that still working
I feel
today?
like after so many millions, there's something to be like, you know, like I can understand if it's real close and it's like, no,
Right.
the electoral college, because this is condensed, these people, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, sure, get it, right? But after millions of votes,
Yeah.
should there be like another part of the system?
Yeah,
Is this
no.
something that has happened in the past? Is this
No.
something that is new? I don't know.
I don't know either.
This conversation is really important. You know, you guys, thank you for tuning in with us today, because we really want to make sure that we're talking about the issues that are affecting us today blindly. You know, like we had no idea. If you're scrolling through Facebook, you probably don't realize how the algorithm is affecting your life. If you are scrolling through Instagram, you probably have no idea unless you're studying these things. So we want to be that source of information for you. And, you know, we're learning together. This isn't something that we just intrinsically know. We look it up so that you guys don't have to go through all of that process. So I really appreciate having this conversation. And I hope that you guys are going to be a little bit more aware of how you're interacting online. You're going to be aware of the sources that you're sharing. And you know what? Maybe hold back on sharing irreputable articles.
Preach.
It's hard, though, because
Yeah.
they're laughable, but hold back on that.
Wait, are you talking about the stuff that, first of all, I share a lot of funny things that make me crack up. Julie and I definitely do. It's fun. Sometimes
But let's
it's
think
fun.
about the impact that we have on this road. So thank you for tuning into the Viera Vida show and talking about algorithms and politics with us. Next week, we are likely going to have a guest on our show, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be lots of fun. And we hope that you guys become besties by following us online at Viera Vida on all of the social platforms. Love you guys. Bye.